thought I'd break out my Epiphone Les Paul for this video. This Les Paul is all plywood. I tell you what, it looks like mahogany on the inside. It's real dark in there. It looks like mahogany. I've never looked it up. There's actually a frickin' serial number on the back. Can you believe that? It's not a sticker, it's an actual serial number. And I paid more for this little ukulele used. Oh, look, it's relic used than than you would pay for like some Firefly guitars. Oh, look, it's relic a little more. It's seen a little bit of use. Yes, it has. I can't think of anything else to play right now, but was it worth the $149 or 100? I think I bought this at a pawn shop in North Carolina, and I paid $125 for it. And they actually list for a little more than that on the website, on Musician's Friend or Sweetwater, or wherever you can find one. I actually think they might sell this on Amazon. But, yeah, fun little instrument. We threw in a little ukulele set a while back when I first got it a couple years ago. And we didn't stick with it because it was just a distraction and a pain in the ass to do. You know, that's all. But Lordy, Fender can't make a guitar as good as Firefly. Well, bust my britches. I'll tell you what. You know, these are all just opinions, and ask Joe Bonamassa his opinion of Firefly. When are you going to use a Firefly guitar when you're playing like at the Royal Albert Hall, Joe? His answer would be something like, well, I'm sure those are good guitars, but for my needs, okay, you know, for what I'm doing, and giving all these statistics like the Fender has a painted poplar body and a maple neck with a maple fingerboard and a single ply pick guard and perloid inlays or whatever they are, you know. And the Firefly has a roasted mahogany painted body. So effing what? It's a painted body. Tonewood doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. So in your roasted maple neck, get out of here. Your stainless steel ball end frets and your baloney inlays. Come on, man. Are you serious? And I know, you know, the appeal to authority carries a lot of weight when it comes to this kind of stuff. But don't believe anything anybody says on the internet, right? Including me. Including me. I want to see, and I won't be around. But you know what? Let me think of a guitar from the past. Ampeg made some guitars. Ampeg made some guitars that were supposed to be really, 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 really good. And I'm sure they were kind of pretty good because they had a bass guitar that was made of plywood. Plywood. Yeah, they don't make those anymore. Kramer used to make a aluminum neck bass. I had one. I loved that guitar. It had an Epiphone fretboard and it had the aluminum neck. I would have loved to have kept that guitar, but I had to acquire a guitar back that somebody had, and they were willing to trade the bass for the guitar. And the guitar was even more important to me than the bass, but Kramer doesn't make that bass anymore, especially not in Neptune, New Jersey. What other guitars? Peavey. Peavey used to make some great guitars. And you saw them on stages. Hey, Ross Valerie from Journey played a T60 bass. There were some other guitar players. Oh, wait, who was that guy? Eddie Dane? No, not him. Eddie Van Halen. They don't make those guitars anymore, you know. And I went and looked on the Firefly site. They have literally copied cookie cutter cutout copies of Strats, Les Pauls, Firebirds, Flying V's, Dean guitars, even that weirdo Gretsch thing that Billy Gibbons played that is a Billy Gibbons signature, that if you buy a real one, it's like $2,000, okay? Not $229. Give me a break. And I'm still going to say the jury's out on stainless steel frets. I'm sure they sound good. But unless you're using stainless steel strings, here's what's happening. And this is just an opinion because I have a degree in mechanical engineering and I spent a bit of time in the tool and die field working with things like 4140 tool steel and stainless steels and other chromium and nickel. If you've got nickel wound strings on stainless steel frets, in no time at all, where your string hits the fret, you're going to wear a flat spot. And I'm going to say it's going to happen pretty darn fast. So unless you're using stainless steel wound stainless steel strings, I believe you're defeating the purpose. Now, in the course of a lifetime, I have refretted 3 guitars. One was a 1960s something Duosonic that I got when I was 14 years old. And by the time I was 19, because it was older, it was already almost as old as me when I got it. By the time I was 19, it needed refretted, and they were Fender vintage frets. At 20 years old, that guitar got stolen from a practice place where we left our instruments at a girl's cottage, and it got stolen. I refretted a Peavey T60 that I bought in 1979 and refretted it about 1988. So let's say 19, 20 years it took to wear that out. And I didn't wear it out, my frickin' brother did, because he's so heavy-handed. I refretted a Fender neck on that Fender guitar that I've got that is a all-parts body, an original 70 Fender's bullet neck. I refretted that, and I used stainless steel. And let me tell you what, they are hard to work on. They're hard to dress, they're hard to file, they're hard to level, they're hard to everything. They're hard on your tools. So, that's all well and good. Okay, stainless steel frets is all cool. But I say that if you're using nickel wound frets, that soft nickel against the hard stainless is going to wear your strings out pretty quickly. It'll wear the bottom three out less quickly because they're stainless steel. Your GB&E on the top end are stainless anyway. But I want to see Joe Bonamassa or Billy Gibbons' signature Firefly, or the Nuno Betancourt signature Firefly, or the who's that shredder guy, Paul Gilbert signature Firefly, and Nuno plays Washburn. Paul Gilbert plays Ibanez. Joe Bonamassa will play anything Gibson or Fender. Who knows? He might play some Gretches. Brian Setzer, one of my heroes, he plays nothing but Gretsch for the most part. And here's the funny thing. This is directly from him. He bought a bunch of Les Pauls. He owned a bunch of Les Pauls and sold them to put his kids through college. Or his kid through college. So there's that. The point was made that when you buy a Squier Affinity or a Squier Advantage or a Squier Dire Squier or whatever they are, and you pay $200 for it, and the minute it drives off the lot, it drops $200 in value. I'm going to say the same for the Firefly. The minute you drive it off the lot, its value drops. You're not going to get that money for it because you just buy a new one for the same price, right? Why would you pay that much for a used one? Well, I guess if it was a vintage Firefly, I would, but no. But if you've got a 1970 Gibson that you paid $1,000 for in 1972 or 73, cha-ching. So that's my point. I've got nothing against these guitars. I've got something against the bullshit of trying to build them up to outdo Fender and Gibson and some of the top brands. I know Fender and Gibson, they're overpriced, blah blah blah, whatever. But whatever you pay for it today, there's a good chance you'll get close to that money, or more tomorrow. And that's the difference. And the longevity. You don't know the longevity of these freaking guitars. The pickups could freaking rust to dust. We don't know. And I know they got shit pots in them. They got shit switches. I don't care about your abalone inlays and your, you can throw Grovers on freaking anything. You throw Grover tuning keys on anything. I like Spurzels or Schallers, stuff like that, Yikes. But anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.